Tene da chenamba kangala tangpo tahideli kijitang tene tanda ngaranso ge dojin chongtuma sonde dembate ta jitang ge dojin chongtuma de tsai nyunyu tene ten salpo tene chenla chenpo retla tene ta pengaran jambal zangpo jang namso semoto la lojoji la chaja chenpo gamne sonde te son yindu tene tambe chugungni na chena cheparje ta lojoji la dwajane sonde nawa yindu chena cheparje tene jitin jinguni na ta lojoji la nyamnyong sa ne tiga ba yindu be te kal chenpo yinba tene teacher na tene ngaranso kajibe gende ka tene gerge taba lama mecha pomo chuji kangage tujento sonde de sungi wara la te sonde de sunga te pe pento chempo ta chena chempo yembe cherna tene ngarange chunting kangola takwa dendu chena cheparje jo tene loma sola pento gre sambandabo tende chegi wara la te ticharna chenambege ti kapsala semain para te patong mugi ni sorwa tapna rochi.
First of all, Tashi Delek this morning, and after that we will be reciting the Dorje Chang lineage prayer again. And this is a very important prayer because it has very concise words and yet very clear meaning. And so for this reason, it is very beneficial and good to recite it. Now this prayer was composed by Pengar Champal Sampo after he spent 18 years on an island in the Sky Lake in the north of Tibet doing Mahamudra retreat. And so this is after 18 years of retreat, his experience in here is 18 years of retreat. His realization of the Great Seal is all included within this song, and so therefore it has exceptional blessings. So since it has 18 years worth of his realization there, then it is particularly beneficial song and important song. Now, if you look at it in terms of worldly terms, he also had 18 years worth of experience in there, and so this encompasses all 18 years of his experience. And so for this reason, it is a very beneficial, very important prayer to recite. So we recite it in all of the different Kagyu monasteries, all the independent lamas, all the householders, all the men, the women, the various students of the Kagyu tradition all chant this prayer because it is so important. And this is also why Rinpoche begins every Dharma session by chanting this prayer. And so it is an especially important prayer for us to chant. And so for that reason, when we chant it now, please chant it with faith and devotion and without letting your mind be distracted.
ne Tene ta tanda hiraji parudu tsimbala jirdu hiraji parudu tsimbatela tsimba si topeki yul tela namba ye hiraji parudu tsimbata lam hiraji parudu tsimbata drevu hiraji parudu tsimbata yung hiraji parudu tsimbata namba ye yorela tene ta te nane ye hiraji parudu tsimbasinki kandi jirisena kerdo ta rangin senjin tongji jila tene samon tomba ni chuji inji chabiya ba chu tamji deni jewa meba tomba ni chaye ba ta tomba ni teyon ta kasin hiba yendo tongjong bembu namba yenden mebe tongjong ma inba tene sangji ji yihin chardurung dewarhi bi nimbo sangji ji saben tabo de rangin senjin tongji jila yuya ba de tena pabatela yihiraji parudu tsimbasi tati yedemani rangshisu yuya patela yihiraji parudu tsimbasi tene tatela tene tati ngaranzo tanda neka tene tatanda dewarhibi nimbo yana ya neka lobrujitimi drip debate rimji salvegi chertu tene tambe chue la chen hiraji parudu tsimba gam hiraji parudu tsimba la tusam jego ne nyamsalen hiraji parudu tsimba gambe nyamsalen bego ne nyamsalen tetardu chepatela lam hiraji parudu tsimba tene tela tene rimji tardu gandrevu topde tar ye dewarhi bi nimbun drevu de ngandu churbatela drevu hiraji parudu tsimba asi ta chitangi yelam dresum je parudu tsimba hiraji parudu tsimba so.
When we talk about transcendent full knowing, or prajna paramita, when we talk about transcendent full knowing, in general we have four different types of transcendent full knowing that we talk about. So the four different types of transcendent full knowing are ground transcendent full knowing, path transcendent full knowing, result transcendent full knowing, and textual transcendent full knowing. So these are the four: ground, path, result, and textual transcendent full knowing. Of these, the first is the ground transcendent full knowing, and this is the emptiness nature that is cannot be established as anything. This is the emptiness nature, the dharma nature of all phenomena and of our minds. And yet this emptiness nature, as we described yesterday, is not just a mere inanimate emptiness, a nothingness. It is not like that at all. Rather, it has the seed and the potential to generate all of the different qualities, and so it is our Buddha nature. So this is the ground transcendent full knowing. However, this ground transcendent full knowing is temporarily hidden by all the fleeting stains. And so in order to cleanse away all of those fleeting stains, we practice the Dharma. We meditate upon transcendent full knowing. We do the practice of transcendent full knowing. We make efforts. We are diligent about learning about transcendent full knowing. We are diligent about practicing the meditation of the transcendent full knowing. And as we do the meditation on the transcendent full knowing, then gradually those stains that obscure it are discarded and cleared away, cleansed away, and so at that point, that transcendent full knowing that we meditate upon there, that is what we call path transcendent full knowing. And then gradually, as we clear all the stains away, we attain the result. We attain the result of Buddhahood. And so this is the result transcendent full knowing. So in this way, in general, we have these three different types of transcendent full knowing: the ground transcendent full knowing, path transcendent full knowing, and result transcendent full knowing.
Tene tatela yibate yonghiraji parudu tsimbarela yonghiraji parudu tsimbate te tabuge ye nelu ton lamji drecholta devu yentente hilam desum ge chechu tenzo salbur temba ta tangbo susuji kapsula tening aranzo yela hiraji parutu tsamba yu yaba yu higi yo marela te yela yu yaba te ngotre parseba teni lam drepetso yu higi yo marela lam drepetso te jetawa yindu temba teni te yendo tardu kun drebu topju yaba ngi hiji wa te yung hiraji parutu tsamba la teni ta kada tenju je nambala yuba te namji yung te la teni ngaranzo tardu kun drebu topju yinbi chena yung hiraji parutu tsamba te ta ya lam de som yung dan jeba hiraji parutu tsamba la ye yo arela ta di nani hiraji parutu tsamba ngune de kandere se na teni ye hiraji parutu tsambati ngaranzo kalchegi yorela tene ta ngaranzo senjin tamalban inaya tene tartu kundebu topju yopati tsawa kana tugu yore sene ye hiraji parutu tsambala tugu yore te hiraji parutu tsamba nguyimba jaytang te yendo ye hiraji parutu tsambati ngandu jirbati ndebu hiraji parutu tsamba yimba chenna ndebu zobu sunji jamden deji kompon top ne tuji la yubi ye hipasun zobati ndebu hiraji parutu tsambati te ni de hiraji parutu tsamba ngure ngure de yinaya ta ti gyo te yimba chenna tene tanda yuno tala te de ten sungi yorela yung hiraji parutu tsambata lam hiraji parutu tsamba ni de hiraji parutu tsamba ngu mare yung hiraji parutu tsambati ta kecha hi yaba ndabuji dai cha ndabuji ta yigiri sutriba tabuji yimba chenna te hiraji parutu tsamba ngu mare dewarhi bi nimbo yung mare la tartu kundeba yung mare te yendo lam hiraji parutu tsamba yung hiraji parutu tsamba junzi re de inayi te cha sangwa ji re yo mare la lam la rinpa yendo ro zengi yo re de inaya tene yi hiraji parutu tsamba de ngandu chirben rewi hiraji parutu tsamba de tobar sibi jo yimbe chirna yung hiraji parutu tsamba ta lam hiraji parutu tsamba nila tene hiraji parutu tsamba hibi mainda wa yin tene so.
The fourth type of transcendent full knowing is the textual transcendent full knowing. Now, this is what clearly teaches the nature of the ground transcendent full knowing. It is what teaches the method to meditate on the path transcendent full knowing, and it is what teaches the qualities, the excellent qualities of the result transcendent full knowing. And so it clearly teaches how to meditate upon the path, and so it clearly teaches all of these. It clearly teaches that we. So first of all, so that is the the textual transcendent full knowing. Now, first of all, at the beginning, when we are ordinary individuals, we do not realize that, or we do not know that we have the Buddha nature. We do not realize the Buddha nature. And so the textual transcendent full knowing teaches us clearly that we have yes, you have this transcendent full knowing. Yes, you have this Buddha nature, and this is what it is. It introduces us to the ground transcendent full knowing. And then as we are meditating on the path, it tells us, yes, you should meditate in this way. You should do this, that, and the other thing in order to meditate on it. And so in this way, it teaches us clearly what the path transcendent full knowing is. And then it also tells us what so then it also tells us what are the qualities that we will attain when we reach the result of the profound ultimate state of Buddhahood. So what qualities will we attain? How would we do that? And so by teaching us that, we can attain a certain recognition of what we are going to attain. And so in this way, the textual transcendent full knowing are the texts, the sutras and the commentaries by the Buddha and all the learned panditas, all the learned scholars that teach us what is the ground transcendent full knowing? How do we meditate upon it? And what result do we attain? So that is the textual transcendent full knowing. Now, of these, so in this way we have 4 different types of transcendent full knowing. The ground transcendent full knowing, path transcendent full knowing, result transcendent full knowing, and textual transcendent full knowing. Now, of these 4 transcendent full knowings, it is said that the path and textual transcendent full knowing are like the cause. So what this means is that we have 4 different types of transcendent full knowing. And of these 4 different types of transcendent full knowing, then the ground transcendent... let me check that. I got to check that text. Okay, so the quote is, because of the from the text and the path, one can attain the result. And so what this is teaching is that the textual and the path transcendent full knowing are labeled or imputed. They're labeled as transcendent full knowing, but they're not actual transcendent full knowing. So what actual transcendent full knowing is the ground transcendent full knowing and the result transcendent full knowing. So the ground transcendent full knowing is the essence of the bliss gone one, the Buddha nature that resides within all of us. It is this potential, this seed that when that we all have within ourselves. It is currently in the when we are ordinary individuals, it is covered, but it is that Buddha nature that we all have. And then when that becomes manifest, when that ground transcendent full knowing becomes manifest, when we attain the perfect state of Buddhahood, at that point, that is the result full knowing. That is also actual transcendent full knowing. So the ground and the result transcendent full knowing are actual full knowing. They are the Buddha nature, and then they are the resulting wisdom of the Buddha. And this wisdom of the Buddha is the transcendent full knowing. These two are actual transcendent full knowing. Now, the other two, path transcendent full knowing and textual transcendent full knowing, are labeled as transcendent full knowing, but they are not actual transcendent full knowing. They are not actual transcendent full knowing because the textual transcendent full knowing is just words. It's like conversations or discussions that people had. They are words that we can follow to come to realize transcendent full knowing, but they are just words. They're just things that people said. They're the words of the Buddha, the words of the scholar, but they are not that actual Buddha nature itself. They are not the actual result. They are the words that clearly teach us how we can attain the result. And so for that reason, they are labeled as transcendent full knowing, but they are not actual transcendent full knowing. Path transcendent full knowing is really the methods by which we attain, by which we make the result transcendent full knowing manifest. And so, since it is, because of that, it is slightly, or it is a little bit of transcendent full knowing, but it is not the full transcendent full knowing. It is not the full manifest transcendent full knowing. It is not really the ground transcendent full knowing of our Buddha nature, nor is it the result transcendent full knowing of Buddhahood. Rather, it is the path through which we meditate upon it. And so in this way, this transcendent full knowing is also called labeled transcendent full knowing. I want to explain this term labeled form, labeled and actual. Labeled transcendent full knowing just basically means these are things that we're calling transcendent full knowing, but they aren't actual transcendent full knowing. Actual transcendent full knowing means like the real thing, the real thing. So that's what those two terms mean, the labeled transcendent full knowing and the actual transcendent full knowing. If you look in other translations, they might call it imputed full knowing and actual full knowing, but the term I'm using is labeled transcendent full knowing and actual transcendent full knowing. So in this way, we have these 4 different types of transcendent full knowing. Of the 4 different types of transcendent full knowing, then the ground transcendent full knowing and the result transcendent full knowing, because they are the actual Buddha nature, the ground transcendent full knowing is the actual Buddha nature, and then they are the actual result with all the wisdom and all the qualities, are actual transcendent full knowing. The textual transcendent full knowing and the path transcendent full knowing are labeled transcendent full knowing because they are not that actual Buddha nature themselves.
Tene ta te la tene tandi kapsula kandire se na ngaranzo yonghira je paru tsamba de yegi yor ta te yonghira je paru tsamba ye na ni yonghira je paru tsamba re la yonghira je paru tsamba la ka da tenju namba ni ye be na ne tene ka kai hira je paru sonji je kai hira je paru tsamba re la sanji je kai ti ge den la tene namba ni yor la hiraji paru de tsamba nguten toni jerba bedan salam ga nam yo sinki ji namba ni yo nguten ta bedan tene nguten toni garba se du ta perna khasin ta bu ji na zo tomba ni zo so sinki de chu tong ji toni de temba ta wo ni a me na wa me na me je me sin toni de temba de la nguten toni jerba 당우된 돈이 저름바다디 영혈아지 바로 듣음바 상지지 까다 땡주 땡주 그 돈이 데 코나마도 간땡이와 말에 베세나 디기 책 말에 베란 살람 그 넘겨 세그래라 베란 그 온도 세나 디효라 고야 되라 드니 사다 사주 간디지 되고야 바 롱아 간디지 되고 추념린 간디지는 추념스 링고야 바 타르투 근데부 간디지 토고야 바 라소바 차창 땜바인 베처나 데니텔라 베랭 살롱 베랭 살롱 넘겨 숨그래라 데니텔라 다페나 카신 그 갑술라 땜바티 품봉하고 대도랑인지 똥바인 시는 의된 거 온드시나 돈이 코나 땜바 베랭 거 온드시나 품봉아 조제 품보 초로에 품본도 히제 품본도 지제 품보 넘버 히베 품보 디품봉하고 대남 다지당게 나란서 촌농 출출 제출 라소바 살보르 땡제 다 데린 오니 템발라이 수수리긴다 르바긴다 땡나요아레 라 드니 다단다 랑히 히라지 바루드 쯤바 사모지지 고네 템바타 드니 람 히라지 바루드 쯤바 케브르자 네 두고 고네 템바시 다 사지나 요요아레라 다 카신 랑히 히라지 바루드 쯤바티 이 히라지 바루드 쯤바티 센진 탐지지 줄라 유브게 촐데 당하라서 품봉하고 디게 네루라 출 디랑힌데 똥바임바 마히 다데 랑라 젬베가솔로 품봉하고 데다 랑힌지 똥바티 히그 똥 랑힌지 똥바데 똥바싱긴데 옌데메베 똥종마임바 데네 데와르히비 님부 예히게 예인당 예히 송둔주부게 내당데 양다바지 히니 데라당보 투섬시는 예히기 Tene pardo te tingenzen gamne nyomnyong cheparchin jilachi tene tartuk drevu to te tabu jega los beden salam jenong yo temba la tene tandi kapsula tanda hiraji paru tu tsimbi nimbun dondala ya tene tanda te tardo beden tang utin namba niga go ne tengi
In terms of the textual transcendent full knowing, what we are studying and what we are talking about, what Rinpoche is explaining today, is the textual transcendent full knowing. This sutra is textual transcendent full knowing. It is between the commentaries and the words of the Buddha. This is the textual transcendent full knowing that is the words of the Buddha. And so this textual transcendent, so this particular sutra is textual transcendent full knowing. Now in the textual transcendent full knowing, there are two types of things that are being taught. There is the explicit teaching of the meaning of emptiness, and there is the implicit teaching of the presentation of the paths and stages. So we have the explicit teaching of the meaning of emptiness and the implicit teaching on the presentation of the paths and stages. And so of these two, the first is the, so all of the teachings of the transcendent full knowing have these two aspects. Now of these two different aspects, the first is the explicit teaching of the meaning of emptiness, and this is what the words teach directly, explicitly, saying that emptiness is form is empty, emptiness is form, and it is teaching directly that all phenomena are emptiness, and this is the nature of emptiness, teaching what the nature of emptiness is directly. So this is the explicit teaching of the sutra. It is the explicit teaching of the meaning of emptiness. Now, however, as we discussed yesterday, this is not all that this sutra teaches. While the words directly talk about the meaning of emptiness, they implicitly teach what we call also the implicit teaching, or it could also be translated as the hidden teaching on the presentation of the paths and stages. So or the hidden meaning. So this is the meaning that is not directly taught in the sutra, but it is a meaning that is present there. And the way this is taught is that it says that now when you the sutra teaches that when you, for instance, as we had yesterday, that when we teach that the five aggregates should be correctly viewed as empty by nature, this is teaching that first we need to view the five aggregates, and we need to come to understand that all phenomena are emptiness, and yet that emptiness is not just a blank emptiness. This is an emptiness that also is the union of wisdom with the Dharma expanse, or with Dharmadhatu. It's the union of wisdom with the Dharma expanse, and this is so this is the nature of the wisdom. We develop this sort of recognition, and then it teaches us how do we meditate upon that. What do we do to meditate? And when we meditate on it through listening and contemplation, and then we do actual meditation practice on it. Through doing that, we achieve an exceptional experience within our being. Achieving that exceptional experience within our being, then we gradually progress through the paths and the stages, or the bhumis, up to the attaining the final result of Buddhahood. And so this is implicitly taught in the sutra. In the sutra, it teaches, first of all, in the section we covered yesterday, that in teaching that the five aggregates are empty. This is teaching the ground transcendent full knowing. And then later on, and in teaching the Eight Profundities, this is teaching the ground transcendent full knowing. Later on in the commentary, in Venerable Taranatha's commentary on it, there is the heading about coming to certainty, about path transcendent full knowing, and that is meditated upon through the 6 ways of being skillful, or the 6 ways of being skillful, the 6 ways of being wise. I'm not sure which is the better translation, I'm sorry. The 6 ways, but it says in the commentary, the 6 ways of being skillful. And so that meditation on the 6 ways of being skillful, and seeing that in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no taste, no touch, and so forth, and so on. From that part on is teaching about the path transcendent full knowing. And so in this way, by teaching the ground transcendent full knowing, and then by teaching the path transcendent full knowing, this sutra is teaching the the hidden or implicit presentation on the paths and stages. And so in this way, it directly teaches on the meaning of emptiness. It gives the explicit presentation of the meaning of emptiness, and it also gives the implicit presentation of the paths and stages.
Tene ta telaya ta kasing kapsula zu tomba ni zu zu lejong tomba ni yima in tomba lejong su yima in no so ne toni yejurdo so ran se pare la tina ne ta niba tangbo de zu tomba os niba de tomba ni zu so sing ta niba tomba ni zu so sing te tene ta tanda Taranatha na pe take the culture la take the culture ta Taranatha gomba senayanda ta te hiram nimbundo gomba senayanda tene chu tamji toni imbatan toni dingo dewarhi bi nimbo imbate sanjiji yengdan yi songdun jubungo imbate tembege das hiraje paru도 좀 님분도 근데 있나더라 되니 책 나요래 송요래 hiraje 다 yen도 엄마 때문에 책 나이에 변하는 책 당보대 가신 휴바래 라 되네 다디 sam kiapanyela ngamber tahin pumbonga bote dala ronginji tomber number tao sinkiti tengiyores 다 yenton tembe 책 니바데 동반이 조소 생기게 되는 게 와래. 단다 돈이 해줄 거는 책임이 받대. 되게 되네 다대 지당 그 동반이 생기게 다 연단 이 희성든 주봉을 여봐야 여봐제 임발라 대때니 매배 르봉가 라타부 동반이 지나 텔조냐 요 말해. Tela jen chardru nangkin chudin ji tombani ji imbata tombani ji ngo ten sarwa yi ji ngo dewarhi bi nimbu ngo jin ji imbala tene tene zu chartu yore junsin teacher na toni yejordu sumbege tsik nibati tene senjin tamji ji la dewarhi bi nimbu yubu sarcha dewarhi bi nimbo te ya ta tanda rangin seni ta dembaje remato dewarhi bi nimbo seni yene yo mari senkije maimba tene ta dise tengi yore son.
So yesterday we had the teaching on the form is empty, emptiness also is form. Emptiness is no other than form, form is also no other than emptiness, the fourfold emptiness as we call it. And in this fourfold emptiness, yesterday we particularly discussed the first of these, form is empty. And the second phrase here, emptiness is form. In the commentary or in the thinking of the Venerable Taranatha, whether you call it the thinking of Venerable Taranatha or whether you call it the meaning of the sutra, this is an extremely important phrase. And the reason is that the Venerable Taranatha says that there are 5 separate passages in the sutra that clearly teach that the nature of all phenomena is emptiness, and that emptiness itself has the nature of being the Buddha nature, or that is it is the union of the Buddha's wisdom and the Dharma expanse. And so it is a clear, wise, knowing emptiness that has the potential for qualities, that gives the qualities. And so this is not a nothingness sort of emptiness. And there are 5 separate passages that clearly teach this essence of emptiness as being, so the empty essence as having this quality. And so the other day we discussed the first of these passages, which is that when the noble Lord Avalokiteshvara, when the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, noble Lord Avalokiteshvara, was looking at the profound transcendent full knowing, he correctly viewed the five aggregates as being empty by he also correctly viewed the five aggregates as being empty by nature, and so that was the first passage that teaches that clearly teaches the great other empty middle way school. And here, this line here, emptiness is form, is the second passage that clearly teaches the second passage that clearly teaches the great other empty middle way. And so this second passage here, emptiness also is form, is a very important passage. Now, the reason that it is very important is that if you say that emptiness, that form is empty, well, then what is the nature of that emptiness? Is it just like the emptiness of sky? Is it like an inanimate emptiness of sky that's nothingness? No, it's not like that. This emptiness is emptiness that has the qualities, it has the wisdom, it is the union of wisdom and the expanse. And so this emptiness, this Buddha nature here, is this emptiness is what appears as form. It is not something that is like the horn of a rabbit. The horn of a rabbit is a traditional example of something that does not exist. It is not something like the horn of the rabbit. Rather, it is something that has these qualities. It is the Buddha nature that is within us. And so this, so this quality, so this emptiness is form. What it is saying is that this is this emptiness also is what is appearing as Okay, I'm just checking myself. And so the Buddha nature is what is appearing as form. It is this nature of wisdom and emptiness that is appearing as form. And so in this way, the emptiness is form, is the second passage that is clearly teaching the great other empty middle way.
Tene ta te tardo toni hijurdo tene ta paruto pumbo ngabo tera tembarela. Tati samuji onto sena samuji tambo de tombani. Imbati haribu deta wena chutamji tombani de junsin deta bucherna hizi chutamji tombani de sena tombani. Ta samuji jina ne tambo de tombani. Nipati seni mepa sumbiyor. Tene sumbati majipa tene mangapa ta degindo ta tanda samuji der bagindo la sunarela tene kunzob je no anda tamji seni mepa ta kunzob je ondo sena tene ngupo kangala seni yor seni yore de ina ya te tenje ondo sena ngo toni imba toni de ngo yon tene dewar ki binimbu ngo ton temba imbe cherna tene seni ta senja ta sengi se ta jitang kunzup go on se na tene yaji yore de ina yo tana ngi par ta hi ki na chu tham ji tomba ni indu tomba ni de la seni yo mare senja yo mare sengi yo mare junsin teacher na seni me ba ge ni ba samuji ge ni ba samuji ge sumbate machi ba sungi yore la tene kunzup go no anda tham ji jong diye demani drup manyo yin becherna machi pa se ta tanda yong on se na tene gyola chepa dorji me tensik se ta tombo ne jogen drebu kandi si chege to ta chi se pe kapsula tene ngupon denzo de ne machi pa rinduga sombata bute machi pa tenis tangbo nipa sumba yiba de mangapa ta tangbo ji yo na tenga ge yo re te yin ya tene toni ji manyu na Tene ngaya ji ngupo ji ji madu ba yin bichi na manga ba.
And so this is the teaching on the fourfold emptiness. The form is empty, and emptiness is also form. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form also is no other than emptiness. And so here we are teaching here that the 5 aggregates are empty. And so, having taught that the 5 aggregates are empty, this is among the 8 profundities. This teaches the first of the 8 profundities, the emptiness. So we had the 8 profundities of emptiness, no characteristics, unborn, unceasing, and so forth. And so this teaches the first of the 8 profundities. And so then the sutra reads, Shariputra, therefore all dharmas are emptiness. So, Shariputra, for this reason, all dharmas, all phenomena are emptiness. So this teaches the first of the 8 profundities, the first of the 8 profundities, the emptiness. And so then, following this, there come the second, third, and fourth, the no characteristics, unborn, and unceasing. So these are the second, third, and fourth of the 8 profundities. Now, of these, so all dharmas are emptiness is the first of the 8 profundities. And then the second is that there are no characteristics. Now, in terms of our relative appearances, then all dharmas, all phenomena, have characteristics. In terms of relative appearance, there are what we call characteristics, the characterized phenomena, and the character base. And so these terms mean basically the characteristics are the things, the attributes or the things about something that by which you can tell what it is. The characterized is what that thing is, and then the basis, the characterized basis, you can say is like an example of it. And so that is what we mean by saying the characteristics, the characterized, and the characterized basis. So we have these 3 things, and these are all just relative appearance. In terms of the relative appearances, we see that things have the characteristics, and then we see that these things have characteristics in relative terms. And yet, if we look at and then we see that there is a characterized phenomena, and then we see that there is the character base. I'm going to give you an example of the characteristics, characterized and characterized base, just to make sure that you understand it, because I'm not sure if I'm explaining it clearly without an example. So if you have characteristics, this is my explanation, not Rinpoche's. The characteristics, if you have like fire, for example, we have fire. The characteristics of fire are that it is hot and burning. So if something is hot and burning, then it's got to be fire. So that is the characteristics of fire. Everything that is hot and burning is fire. Now, that which is hot and burning is fire. So fire is what is characterized. Do you understand that? So we've got the characteristics are hot and burning, and then fire is what is characterized by the characteristics hot and burning. And then you have the character base. And so then you could say that a fire of sandalwood is the characterized base, because if you look at that particular thing that you're looking at there, it's hot and burning, and it's fire. And so in that way, that sandalwood firewood of sandalwood logs would be a characterized base. So we have these 3 things, the characteristics, characterized phenomena, and characterized base. Now back to what Rinpoche said. And so if we look at things in terms of the characteristics and the characterized base and the characterized phenomena, then these are things that we can only see in relative terms. If we carefully examine them, then we can see that they do not actually exists. And so we look carefully at the, and so in the ultimate terms, they have no existence. They are emptiness. So the characteristics are emptiness. They're just relative confusion. They are not actual, they do not have any actual existence. And so for this reason, we say that actually there are no characteristics. The characteristics are just a relative illusion. In the ultimate nature, actually there is only the emptiness. We cannot find the characteristics. Now, since these phenomena have no characteristics. They are also unceasing. So unceasing here is unborn. They are also unborn. So unborn is the third of the 8 profundities. And what this means is that if we analyze all phenomena with what we call the Vajrajop logic that analyzes cause. And so if we look carefully at the relationship between a cause and a result, we see that actually there's no way you can really say that definitely that something comes from a cause, or you can't say that it doesn't. And so if you analyze it, you can't establish a relationship between a cause and a result. And if there is no cause, then how can the result arise? So this proves that all phenomena are unborn. They do not arise. So this proves that all phenomena are unborn. And so this is the second, or the third of the 8 profundities, that all phenomena are unborn. Now, if phenomena have no arising, then those things which do not have any arising also cannot stop. They cannot cease. And so in this way, because they do not arise, they do not cease. And therefore, all phenomena are also unceasing. So in this way, that is the fourth of the 8 profundities.
Tene ta te jesu ta tanda mangapa. Ti jima ti tima me patang, tima tang trawa me pa sungi yore la. Tene ta ti kunzup zomji ondo xie na. Tene tima yore, tima tang trawa yore la. Tene te yang tima xie na, tima tang tima me patang, tima tang trawa me pa se du. Jitang ke, tang ngaranso ke, Debu Kandis Togi or Debu Kandis Togi or is Sena, Debu Sanji Chikompon Togi or Sanji sinking the Kandiji Resena. Tiniti main tossigi, you'll tell main chain la, number ni or la, sang ye sinking saying. Tiniti la sang sedu ta konto devarhi be nimbo. Sentient tamchi jilla yapa yore. Yore de inna de lobrujitmi tripare sungu yore. Lobrujitma sena tini nyamon bedabata hiji dribasi dribani ge dribni tela dripsin pa ya tini dewarhi be nimbi ngola yebi yentinte ngantu chur matupa dribge yore. Dugi yore la. Ta tela nyamon bedabasena ta che deja hedon temula sopi nyamon bedaba da konsa ka da tan zambala sopata. Hiji dribasena che ngunzin ngupo chutam ji nelu matopa ngupo mepala ngupo zamba la sopi zamba tela tene zen ton tan zen sena ta ngupo jes dribala zamba ta toye zomten zamba la sopi zamba tela Tela, ta kona iena, nang sik mambu yorela. Te dabu tela hiji driba sik. Ta ti driba ni de ngaransu senji tendo, pacha ngemba, ti nonga ti hyarni, teni dewar hibi nimbu yendinte, ngantu chur togu yo marela. Ta ti ngantu churbe tab la kari gugu yore se na, ta michi sanam ji tsukdo, mimi hiji tsuk se. Ta michi sanam ka tsukdo onda se na, teni ta tanda paru tu tsimba togu noni, jinba tsultrim, jinba tangwa tong, tsultrim sungwa tong, zeba gamba, tsuyon du tsamba la supi go ni sungwa tong. Teni mimi hiji tsuji onda se na, chuni te hini ji yentin te la, hini tong lantong ka tani, samten ta, hirap jingo wala gam ni, teni te driba te, nyamon pa driba te, hiji driba ni te, pang yore la. Ta tim rimji hiwarsi go yore la. Hiwarsi pa la teni, ta hitopa te, nyamon pa driba te, hiji driba te, chasang pang sarwa te la, sang sik yore. Ta tin driba te topar. Teni ta je se tu kari rese na, ta ti nyamon pa driba te, hiji driba te pa, tral sana, tan rik sa rese na, te la, ndiki yore te tige, ti che yang mepa che ke tenda mare. Ona kari yore se na, ta ti nyamon pa driba te, hiji driba te, tral yung ke top chi, teni dewar hibi nyingbi ngola ye pa, teni tralwe yen ten suncho tsani se, ta sanji ke chencha, tang chenpa tang, tsewa tang, nupa la sopa tang, Tenim tell at in Pembe and Sunjani Zitatiano, Rimji Pelican, Yene, Tene Rangtong Pusum Sopa to Yendam Pusum Sopa and Dugi Orella, teacher na sang, yes, sang Sedu Tati Tomata Tal. Tene Tomata Tal Rodu, Telatati Tomata Talgugi Orella, Tomata Talzi Talna, Tene Tat Sanji Komotogi Ore. Tene Tateya, Te Uni, Tene Tate Tama Mepa, said Uni, that nail going to Sena, Tati Tamati Tartugi Sena, Te Karu Mopo Dodo Ramoji Yona, Titamati Pantogi, Kalimo Jago Yore. Rete in a Tamatia, Tama Rango Matupa, Niamo Badavaina, Niamo Barango Matupa, Hizi Davaina, Hizi Davarango Matupa. Yembe Cherna, Tiniti, Nelu de Tona, Niamo Badavati, Rangi, Taldoji Apajeta, Hizi Davaina, Rangi, Taldoji Apaje, Yembe Cherna, Tene Tamamepa. Tene Tamati Rangi Matuba Yembe Cherna, Tene Tamati Ngo, the Tangbo Tamadodo, yo. Tepa, Tene, Niambo Top Chembo Chikipa, Mepatang Revisina, Tintemari. Tuma Tamboni, Mepatella, Tuma Mepala, Tona Rangi Yalson in Pichina, Tomata Talsidu, Mus Talvamare, Tekora in Mepala Mepar Hipigone, Yalson, Raboji in Pichina, Tomata Trava Mepas.
And so it reads, all dharmas are emptiness, no characteristics, unborn, unceasing, no stains and no freedom from stains. And so no stains and no freedom from stains here. What this is talking about is saying these are among the 8 profundities, the 5th and 6th of the 8 profundities. The no stains, saying that we're talking about here, when we talk about stains, we're saying the fleeting stains. The fleeting stains. I'm trying to think of other translations that I think fleeting stains is the most common translation of this term. The fleeting stains that obscure Buddhahood, that there are no such fleeting stains and no freedom from stains. There is no freedom from stains. And so here these are teaching the 5th and 6th of the 8 profundities. Now, in terms of how things appear in relative terms, then there appear to be stains and there appears to be freedom from stains. And so we think of the time of being an ordinary individual as being the time when our inherent Buddha nature is obscured by the stains. It is obscured and hidden by the stains. And so because it is obscured, the qualities that are inherent within it cannot arise and cannot actually expand and become manifest. And so they're hidden by stains during the time of being an ordinary individual. And then during the time of being, when we have attained Buddhahood, the stains have all been discarded. And so then the qualities that are become naturally manifest, we say this is freedom from stains. And this is talking about it in terms of relative terms. But if we look at it in terms of, so when we talk about stains, what is it that we mean by saying no stains? And what is it that we mean by saying that there are no stains? Well, when we are in the relative terms, we think about our Buddha nature being hidden by all the things that obscure it. We cannot find it. It cannot become manifest. The qualities cannot become manifest because they're obscured. And so what it is that obscures them are what we call the obscurations. And now we have 2 different types of obscurations. And so I left out something a moment ago. Excuse me. What I left out is that when we talk about the freedom from no stains, no freedom from stains, when we think about the word Buddha, or in Tibetan, Sangye, there are 2 parts to this word. Sang means to purify, Gye means to expand. And so the first of these is to purify. And so what is it that we are purifying? What we are purifying are these obscurations. And then we'll pick up here where I picked off. So these different types of obscurations that hide the Buddha nature. And then the Buddha nature cannot become manifest, and that's why they're called obscurations. So we have two different types of obscurations. There are the afflictive obscurations and the cognitive obscurations. And the afflictive obscurations are the afflictions or the kleshas of greed, hatred, delusion, jealousy, and so forth. These are the afflictive obscurations. And then there are the cognitive obscurations. And the cognitive obscurations are the holding things as being real, holding phenomena to be things, holding on to a self. And so seeing things in a dualistic way. These are the tendencies of cognitive tendencies that obscure us. These are what we call the cognitive obscurations. And so as we progress along the path to Buddhahood, as we progress along the path, we gradually discard these obscurations. We discard these stains. And as they're gradually discarded, then the different qualities can become manifest until we attain the state of Buddhahood with all of the qualities being manifest. And so as we purify things in terms of the relative terms, it appears that we gradually discard all of these obscurations. We discard all of these stains, and then we attain what are called the results of, or the qualities of separation. That's a very technical translation. The qualities of separation is the literal way to say it. I'm going to have to think about that one for another time. The qualities of separation are the qualities that when we discard the stains naturally become manifest. These are the qualities of wisdom, the qualities of love, the qualities of power that naturally become manifest when all the obscurations are discarded. Now, when they are discarded, is that just sort of a nothingness? Is that, excuse me, I got ahead of me. When all the stains are discarded, is that discarding all the stains just a nothingness? Is that enough? No, it is, of course, just discarding all that, but it also has all the qualities, and the qualities of the, so it has these qualities of the results of separation, the love and the power and the wisdom that arise. And it also has all the qualities of full ripening, the different qualities. And so in this way, it has all the qualities that are of the perfect benefit for oneself and the perfect benefit for each other. So in this way, by purifying all the stains, it is sung, or purified, or in another way, it is awakened because it is purified of the stains. It's a Sanskrit explanation of it. It is awakened. Buddha means awakened. It is awakened because it is purified of all the stains. And then all the qualities become manifest, so it blossoms into that. And so in this way, it is purified and perfected, or purified and expanded or blossomed. So gye is the second term here. And so this is why we call the qualities Buddhahood. And this is the meaning of the word Buddha in Sanskrit and in Tibetan. Now, when we talk about these stains, are these stains actually something exist? We have the Buddha nature within ourselves, and if the stains are actual, real, solid things that really obscured the Buddha nature from us, then it would be very difficult to get rid of them. We wouldn't be able to get rid of them. But because the stains have no essence, because the stains are emptiness, therefore we can see that the afflictive obscurations have no emptiness, and we can discard them. And we can see that the cognitive obscurations obscurations have no essence. And because they have no essence, then there's nothing there obscuring. And so they are very easy to discard. There is nothing there. And so there are no stains in that way. And then the result, so how, if there were no stains, how can there be any freedom from stains? So here we have the result that there is no freedom from stains. And so in this way, ultimate, when you look at it, the stains, the obscurations are just fleeting stains. They do not actually have any inherent existence, and therefore the absence of them also does not have any inherent existence.
Tene tate yung haranzo soho doji tipi ke on tena tene tuma me pata tuma ta trawa me pasingiti ta nyoms lembe ka sola nye momba lom de se pasi sungi yorela nye momba lom de se pasi de tene je ngaranzo ta nye momba rakpa namto rakpa hedang ta je jipe kapla tene ta hedang ta bu su je na yanda je jo na yanda de hedang ta bu jipe kapso tene tangpo ta ji ma je ba tene de la het seni nyamnyong ma je pe kapla kandi yore se na hedang senkin te pe hyu chempo top chempo tene ngarang ge ja meze pandabo ta tinde ge hedang trakpo je gre la hedang trakpo je gre te ta ti ji la ti nyem ba hedang ti ji sun trang na tene ngone siksu tene luji dungdi la sopa tene jepa ngemba non-true chempo rogi ware tambi chugo on de sena ya be tambi chudo ngarwa yungu yo baje da jitinga on de sena ya tene tati nyemo ba hedang je na tela tene non-true ge leka ma bo yungu yo re la ta tela kanti go yo re sena tene hedang de ji pa ta ngala hedang je ge to ga so hedang de jedu de la hedang go ngo de tene je ngo la ta chi ngo la ta wa ngo la ta chi se pe ka so nga min di gi ne pa ja de la hedang ji song song ni ji di se na ji di je peng ma re la hedang rang ngo la ta ni 당할 단다 해당 제 요아래라 해당데 가봐도 단다 rang 루지체 루지나 예 가도 넘바 간제도 되나 해당 루지나나요 요 말을라 해당 루지체라요 요 말에 강데 될라 예비 요 말에 가도 요 말 강도 요 매봐 해당 랑고 마두빠 해당 랑고 동바니 생기티 야 해당 요 그만도 와 더 문도 안 알다기 해당 요아래디 해당 문도 와 삼바 니 해당 니야 매봐 레라 해당 니야 매바티 테네 대 강기체도 많이 바르신 해당 랑고 마두바 동바인 비치나 많이 바르 티처나 단다 헤라지 바루도 좀 힘비노 드마 매바 드마다 트라와 매바 니모바 해당 매바 니모바 해당 매바이나 니모바 해당다 트라와요 매바 tene 대답을 게 cerna ngaranso songo doji tipikalauni tendesi ngasum tutito lot lang ne ya tene ta tendesi nyamni nangi wa nang tugi wa re
If we look at these words, no stains and no freedom from stains, in terms of how we practice this in the secret mantra of Vajrayana tradition, we have what is called taking the afflictions as the path, or taking the afflictions as the path. And so what this means is that sometimes we have afflictions that arise, and we have, for example, hatred that arises, and so maybe hatred will arise spontaneously, or maybe it will be something that we force to arise, or that we create. We make hatred arise. And when it arises, if we sort of examine it, normally hatred is something that is very strong. It is very coarse. It is a strong, coarse thought. And this hatred is something that, because it is so strong and coarse, it takes control of us. And so this is this very strong and coarse thought of hatred that arises. And because it arises, then we maybe say some harsh words, or we beat up someone, or we do other sorts of bad behavior as a result of this hatred arising. And now, at the time that this hatred arises, if we sort of look at it and we sort of think, oh, I don't want to be angry. I don't think I should be angry. I shouldn't think about this other person. We sort of think in that sort of way, it's actually not going to help very much. It's not going to be very beneficial. Rather, what we need to do is we need to look at the nature of the anger itself. We need to look at the anger. And so at the moment that arises, we need to look at the anger and see, first we need to be aware. We need to have the awareness that the anger has arisen. And when it's arisen, then we need to think, anger has arisen. And then we need to look at the anger. We need to see, where is the anger? Is it outside my body? Is it inside? Does it have a shape? Does it have a color? What is its aspect? What does it appear like? What is this anger like? And just look directly at the anger and try to see, what is this anger like? And so you look and you try to find the anger and you try to see what it's like, and you can't see that it's there. And you can't find the anger there. And the reason you can't find the anger is because there's nothing to find. There is nothing to find about the anger because its nature is emptiness. Its nature cannot be established as anything. And so you look to see the anger and you cannot find it because there's nothing to find, because it is emptiness. And when that happens, then it is naturally pacified. We look at the So when we look at the anger in this way, and we say, oh, there's really no anger at all, is there? If that anger isn't anything at all. In actual terms, there's no anger there. We can look and we can actually see. And so we actually turn around and look at the anger within, and we try to see what its essence is directly. We do not try to analyze it one way or the other, but rather we just look directly right at that anger to see what is its essence like. And so in doing this, then the anger is naturally pacified. And so so in doing this, we see that not that it's naturally pacified. In doing this, we see that the anger has no essence. So we see that this stain of anger has no real existence. So there are no stains. These stains have no real existence. And at the same time, we also see that the absence of the stains has no real existence. So in this way, there are no stains. There is no freedom from stains. And so from this reason, this is how we take afflictions as the path in order to see this no stains, no freedom from stains, from the perspective of the secret mantra Vajrayana. So we will leave the morning Dharma session here, and we will do a little bit of meditation.
Lasa?
I think what Rinpoche was saying is that if you follow the storyline, then it doesn't help. But if you actually, do a lojong practice, it doesn't help. If you follow the storyline, it doesn't help. It increases your aggression. So instead of following your storyline, you should look at the nature of the aggression itself. I don't want this understanding to be there as if you do a lojong practice, then it doesn't help.
I think Rinpoche is correct.
to ne ni be da na ba je ne je ga